Hello Aaron, I'm just going to do this little video just to show you sort of the car from a cold start and drive it out of the shipping container, and just sort of show you some of the worst points about the car, just so that you know sort of what you're looking at, before you even sort of worry about even coming over to have a look at it or whatever. So I'll just pop the phone down there and we'll have a look at the car. There it is. Right, there it is. Currently on black 16-inch RL7s, because I had a blowout with the front left spider wheel the other week, as you've probably seen my post. It's always kept, I think, as all Cerberas are, on a battery conditioner. If you don't have them on a battery conditioner, they probably last 2 or 3 weeks without being driven, but they're pretty unkind to their batteries if you don't have them on a conditioner. I'll just pop you down there. I'll take the conditioner off and then we'll move it out into the sunshine. It's a little bit dusty. It's not in a state of sort of polished perfection. Does need a bit of a light clean. So with the Cerbera, it comes with the Meta alarm, so just one press and that disables the alarm, as all Cerberas do. Just press the button and the door automatically drops the glass, and then you can climb aboard, which in a shipping container is easier said than done. Right, once in, to start, this is the little key that everybody goes on about, that you mustn't take out of the car because the switch is really weird. I've never had a problem at all with these. I always leave them out. It's just an old-fashioned computer case key. Just put it in, turn it quarter of a turn, and then that's that. There is a sort of hidden switch in the car that is like a master override, which I'll show you, if you do choose to buy the car. Once you're in, as you can see, the mileage is 68,284 at the moment, and I have absolutely no reason to doubt that whatsoever. The wear on the seat is minimal for that mileage. And the steering wheel is in lovely condition. I've had my first Cerbera, my yellow one, that supposedly had done 23,000 miles, and the steering was all nicks and horrible, where people had like kicked it and I don't know, their nails had cut it. It was in a much worse state, so that definitely wasn't genuine mileage. So what we'll do is, before I start it, let's open the bonnet. There's down here, there's a rotary knob there, that silver knurled rotary knob. That is actually the bonnet release. You just turn it. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's some deflection in the bonnet when I lock it and unlock it. So that's unlocked, and as you can see, it pulls the bonnet down and deflects the glass fibre, and that's now locked. So we'll unlock it. Let's just drop the window. There we are, that's that one. And then your passenger side, thus. I've got to show you this. Because the engine is absolutely cold, so I don't know if you can see that. It's very difficult to quite position that, but there's just a standard sort of rod that holds the bonnet up there. Now, all I can do to show you that it's cold is, you can see the manifold, exhaust manifold there. Let me get my hand in there. Look, I've got my fingers on it. That is absolutely stone cold. This hasn't been started for about a week. Right, let's just close the bonnet. Thus, when you close the bonnet on a Cerbera, because of the way they lock from inside, never ever drop the bonnet. There's no need, because there is no catch that it's kind of locating and locking into as a sort of safety, secondary safety sort of locking mechanism. So never ever drop the bonnet, because you really have to guide them into place so as not to like rub the edge of the bonnet on the wing. Because they're so big and glass fibre, you can sort of pull them about a bit and deflect them. So there's your PSI, your oil pressure, and you've got your water temperature below. Sometimes these dials can go wrong. On my yellow Cerbera on YouTube, I did a video of a repair on this instrument itself. They can sort of, the dials can come out of alignment and all sorts of weird things. But right, so now we're in the car. To start it, you press the black one once and then press and hold it until it fires for the second time. Now, I don't know if you heard that initially, right at the start of that sequence. You could just hear the fuel pump prime, and you've got the mill light on, and you can hear that little beep, that continuous note. That means it is ready to fire. So let's give that a go. Oh, and the other thing to remember with all Cerberas, they've only got 8 injectors. They don't have a 9th cold start injector. So when they are cold, they may need a little bit of gas. This one doesn't need a bit of gas to keep it running, but that is something to bear in mind. foot off the gas, and that's just holding a nice tick over. I've read a note on the ECU on this car that says that this has had some sort of remap to very slightly increase the tick over. So there we are. This will warm up pretty quickly, just sitting about, but it will maintain a good steady temperature. All Cerberas have absolutely appalling handbrakes. Never ever, whichever Cerbera you buy, never ever rely on the handbrake to hold the car on anything other than a very slight incline. I always put it in gear, even in the shipping container, just to be on the safe side. This had full new carpets from the previous owner. He fitted them, but the idiots that fitted them marked this. I haven't actually ever tried to get rid of that, but that is stained there on that carpet. This is ancient. I never even switch it on. It does work, but you just do not bother listening to the radio when you're in a Cerbera. It's so loud in here. It's sort of like when you're cruising, it's got to be, I think according to my Apple Watch, is about 75 decibels, just sort of pottering along. You've got the heater. You can just see a red LED there illuminating it, and that's the cold air feed. And to turn the knob there, that just increases and decreases the amount of cold air that's coming through, and the same for the hot air. So if you want to turn the hot air on, you just press it, and that's now blowing out of this eyeball vent. And to switch it off, and then to switch on the cold, that's now blowing out of there. So I'll switch that off. This car does not have air conditioning. It used to have air conditioning, but it is not on this car anymore. There are some components, but the compressor is not one of them. There's your heated window. Obviously we've seen the windows. You've got a courtesy light here that does work, but I never sort of have it switched on for when the doors are open. When you press the button to open the door, then the light comes on, but like I say, I just don't bother with that myself. We've got sort of various COVID type bits and bobs in here, gloves and what have you. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, but oh, there's your mirror switch. So that's all there, and then to turn it, I think that's a Ford component. So that's all working. You've got a cigarette lighter there, which nobody uses anymore. Ashtray, and then I think that's a central locking button to stop people opening the doors from the outside. And then you've got here, you've got a rotary knob that you turn, so that's P bulbs, and then that's main headlights, and then you've got your main headlight button there. You can see the little blue light, that's your main lights, horn, and then you've got wipers there. Let's have a look. So you've got your wipers. If you just press that one once, it goes onto an intermittent wiper setting, like that, and then if you press it again, it goes on to normal setting, and then press it again and then it's fast, and then press it again and that's off. So that's that. That speaker is cracked. That's one of the bad things. As you can see, the leatherwork is lovely, but we're not really here to talk about the lovely things. We're here to talk about the horrible things. So this is the wear on the driver's bolster there and there. The headlining is absolutely immaculate, as it should be, and then you've got the roll cage inside a Cerbera. This is all a roll cage all round the roof, all round the sides, and then joined across there, and then in the back behind the seats that hold the seat belts, it's all a giant roll cage underneath all of this interior sort of panel arrangement, which is a really good thing. It makes it a lot more rigid than all of the soft top models. This is the passenger seat, obviously. There's a couple of sort of naughty little scratches there that will not polish out. There's a tiny little bit of like a wear depression there, but it really is lovely. There isn't any wear really on that at all, on that side, but I'll come round to that in a second. I should have got rid of some of these bits and bobs. There's your seatbelt arrangement. It's just on this sort of, it's like a non-powered version of like a Mercedes type arm that just folds back. All my gloves and bits and bobs. There's the carpet there, all lovely. I don't think anybody's really particularly used the seats. I do put a child seat in it for Jasmine. Now we're here. Right, that's where we're at with the temperature now. As you can see, just over 60 psi and 80 degrees, so it's climbing. There's your fuel gauge. Now in the back, this is where the Immobilizer lives. This area is called the helmet holder, and it literally was to put helmets in if you were going on a track day. Now you can pull this out. This is very important to know. In here are your fuel rail in and out, to and fro, but all of your main Immobilizer and alarm stuff's in here. So you've got your alarm here, a Meta alarm and a Meta Immobilizer. The Immobilizer on this car is working in a slightly different fashion. It is immobilised, but I would show you that sort of if you, as and when, come to have a look at the car. And in here you can see the tubular sort of roll cage, if you will, that the seat belts all mount to throughout the car, front and rear, but that's all part of the body. There's the seat belt for that side and that side, but like I say, that's a lot of your security wiring is in that hole between the seats, so I'll just pop that back. Oh yeah. Right. I always carry a fire extinguisher just in case. I should have hoovered this out. That's just an over carpet. The real carpets are immaculate underneath there. For whatever reason, somebody has never put a piece of carpet over behind the pedals. It is difficult to get in there, but I have got some extra carpet that came with the car. The pedals are all original. You can see they're not worn, and they are all adjustable for length, so you can set those wherever you want them. That's your fog light. So if I turn the lights on, oh, they are on. That is now fog light on and fog light off. I'll turn the main lights off. I think that's it. For that side, that's got a couple of sort of little dents in it. Just hear the fans come on. They're very loud, as is everything. There you go, that's both of them. I'll let that run up and run the fans off, and then I'll switch it off. The gator here is in nice condition. This is just typical. This is the sort of thing that you will get. The leather is just not quite long enough, and it's it doesn't sort of sit in anything, it just sits there. This car has had this ring put on, like a Cerbera wouldn't normally have this ring on it, and it nicely holds the leather in place. You've probably seen people moaning that their gaiter just comes out like this. There's not a lot you can do about that. It just should have a longer bit of leather on it. Very deep footwell. The footwell behind this cover, and it's not brilliantly attached, it just sort of sits there. Behind there is your ECU, most importantly. You've got in here sort of some air vents that open. They're what I sort of term what you'd find in an Alfa Romeo or something like that. The steering wheel, it's in lovely condition. I don't think there's anything on it nick wise or any horrible damage to the leather work. That's all lovely. It's only 2 turns lock to lock, so the steering is very, very sharp, shall we say. Right, that's that. Oh, you can see the carpet in here. Again, this is an over carpet. Underneath, it's lovely. Oh, that reminds me, both sides, this is something nobody ever mentions, both sides of the car you've got a manual pull release that will open the door if there's a full electrical failure, so you can always get out manually by pulling that. That is a manual cable system. There's a little nick in the leather there on the passenger door. There. They're just ever so slightly, you can see that this bolster is very slightly devoid of its colouring along that seam edge. But nothing outrageous, and again, you know, it's nearly done 70,000 miles. That's pretty normal. You know, it's just nice and original. This seat has got a little mark there where it has clearly been rubbed, and I think that's taken the sort of shiny surface off there. There's a little, that feels like that would come off to me. There's a little mark there. So that's that. I'll switch it off now. But I'll just flip the throttle just so that you see if I can prop the phone up. Right, that's a bird dropping, not a mark on the paint. The last time I used this, it it's sat out for a night, so it's sort of got dust on it and stuff. That is a bit of crazing, typical of a glass fibre car. You'll always get the odd spidery sort of cracking. It's nothing to worry about, but cosmetically that is not perfect there. Let's have a look. There's a little, somebody's touched in a little tiny line there. That's been touched in. Let's have a look, see if we can find anything else here. That's a little mark there. I could polish that out. That's definitely something I can polish out. That's a stone chip, not those, but that's right down to the whatever glass. I don't know if you can see it because it's ever so fine. There's a line there. I think a cat has just put a little hairline there on the roof. But apart from that, things to note: this window is in extremely good condition. It is an original window, as all of the windows are. They're all marked TVR. And the important thing to see here is it's not delaminating, apart from just this tiny little edge here. Now, a lot of these cars with original windows, by now you've got a massive, and I mean like this big plus, delamination of the glass. So that's something to watch for. And it's simply an age thing, it's not a TVR thing, because you know, it's a good quality bit of glass at the end of the day. This has still got its original water feed for the wipers, and I personally find it works absolutely brilliantly. But that just, it's like Ferrari basically copied it later on. It just squirts water straight onto the screen from the wipers direct. I think it's a brilliant idea. There's a little stone chip there, tiny little stone chip there. This has had at some stage a full respray, because it's an old Mark 1 and it's got clearly Mark 2 headlights. You can tell it's a Mark 1 because of the seats, and it's got genuine carbon fibre surround. I personally prefer the Mark 1 because it gives it like a legacy. It's like a floating roof line. I do not know why they changed that and went to colour coordinated. It doesn't look as good. This paint is rubber. That's just rubber paint that I put on. There's a post on Facebook when I did that about a year and a few months ago, that if you want to remove that will just literally peel off. I prefer it like that because it just looks more classic British sports car, with it sort of appearing to be more open. I don't actually think there's a single stone chip on the bonnet. This is all just bugs. There's a stone chip there, just there. There's a little scratch, a little scuff scratch there. But all of these this is just dust. All of these things, and again, you can just see a minute bit of delamination there, but most of them, they're just white, not even sort of like that. Most of them have gone white. There's a tiny bit there in the corner there. I think that's it for chips and scratches on the bodywork. So I think that's pretty much that. Don't think there are any other marks on the body. The brakes, that has got absolutely no perceivable lip, sort of wear lip on it. All the pads are lovely. I have got the centres, the shiny centre caps for all of these wheels, but I've chosen not to put them on. That has got no perceivable wear lip on it. Like I said in the previous message to you, I fitted the sort of chassis guard things to stop stones flailing up and striking the chassis. This brake, that again has got absolutely no perceivable lip to it. And this one, that has got absolutely no perceivable lip either. So all the discs are absolutely perfect, as are the pads, but I'm not upside down. That's not really working. In the engine bay, we'll go to the engine bay for imperfections now. Right, the imperfections in here are, this area here is rubbing the bonnet when it closes, because the shape of the bonnet kicks out there. It gets really close, and there's this sort of, it's like a double paint line. That's the original paint, clearly, and that is quite a thick raised edge of paint there. You've got your power steering fluid there. Your washer bottle is underneath there, and that cap, the arrangement to the washer bottle underneath is not perfect. That could certainly be tidied up to align the water bottle better with that hole, but that will take time to do, because that panel, this panel is known as the F1 panel, and on this one it's not that difficult to get out. On my previous one it hadn't been modified, and it was, you actually had to take the coolant pipe off the radiator before you could get that panel out, which was a pain. This one has been modified so you can take it out without doing that. You basically take the air boxes off and the pipe work, and then there's little hex type bolts that undo that, and it does come out with a bit of twisting and fiddling about. It's got the uprated alloy radiator. I had to, and it isn't the same colour, but I couldn't get the same colour in lockdown, so I've just touched it in with some other green, which is high temperature paint, but I've just touched it in there and a couple of other little places. There's a tiny little bit under that there, under that bolt hole there, because the paint has come off in those sort of little tiny areas, that being very much the worst. And I've kind of just touched in on the heads of those bolts, like where the bolts would go for the air conditioning pulley wheel, the sort of tensioner, the belt tensioner. So that's that. You've got a Ford, I think it's from a Ford Sierra. You've got like your brake reservoir there, and the clutch reservoir is underneath this, but it's also underneath, it's very difficult to show you here, but there's a black sort of convexed cover underneath there that you literally have to cut out because it's stuck in with silicone. And your your clutch reservoir is underneath that, so that is not a very accessible item. I've never had any trouble with that on this car, nor indeed my last car. This one has been absolutely superb. And there's your coolant tank. Ouch, that's very hot. And I've run the not that I would probably supply you with this because it's pointless, because this would be powered by a 240 volt sort of power thingamajig, but that's my battery charger sort of conditioner. The battery's under here, you can just see that there. That battery, I think that's only about a year old. You can't really see them, but all the manifolds, all of the exhaust pipe are in superb condition. It has actually, I don't think I've ever mentioned it, and I certainly didn't put it in my advert, it has actually got an ACT exhaust pipe system from the manifolds back. So they're the, as far as I'm aware, they're the standard manifolds, but it has got a full ACT system, and it does have both its cats on it at the moment. So as Cerberas go, it's not as loud as some. Being a Mark 1, this is one of the only cars in this country to be legally allowed to have an illuminated number plate from behind. So when you put your headlights on, there are no external lights that illuminate the number plate. The light is actually in a light box behind this with a sort of reflective system, and that's a special number plate that allows the light to shine through. Again, being a Mark 1 and having Mark 2 headlights, it's a dead giveaway that, you know, it has had a full respray, because all the colour matches beautifully from panel to panel. That fog light has got a slightly melted top to it, and if I was to keep this car, I would literally, because these are just silicone bonded in, these over covers, I would just cut that out and replace that lens. It's got a 4.5 badge on it, obviously it's 4.2. To open the boot, you actually press that like that, just press that, and then that has now unlocked the boot. Boot carpet's in nice condition. It is original. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. That's the other piece of carpet that I was telling you about, actually, that should be in the footwell. So it is there to be fitted. Again, I keep a fire extinguisher in the boot just in case. Behind this cover here, that's just like stuck on with Velcro, they're all the same. Behind there's numerous little computerized boxes that deal with the door opening, the window opening, and your lights and your wipers and all of that. Although, having said that, I think the wiper box is actually in the passenger footwell area with the ECU. So that's that. Again, with the boot lid, I never ever slam the boot lid. I literally just push down on it with my full weight. The panel is so rigid, it doesn't deflect or anything, but I think that's the best way to close the boot lid. I'm sure some people slam it. Oh, the only other thing that I've missed off there in the boot is your fuel tank filler. I believe, so somebody once told me, that is actually a Triumph motorcycle cap. But there is your fuel filler, just there. And there she is. And to the absolute best of my knowledge, they are all of the bad points. And I think for a 1997 sports car that's done nearly 70,000 miles, I think it is in absolutely lovely condition. It really is super, and it is a joy to drive. The clutch is nice and light. In no way at all is it heavy. If you do drive a Cerbera and the clutch is heavy, there is something amiss. I'm just going to try and balance the phone again. Just close that. So like I say, just really nice and easy, just come straight down with it, and now it's just sitting there. You can lock it down and that would be job done. I've got, if you can call them keys, I have 2 sets of Immobilizer stroke alarm fob keys with it, and like I've said in writing, I am absolutely more than willing to look after this car in a shipping container indefinitely until you can arrange a collection of the car, if you do indeed buy it. But there she is. If you have, any more queries or questions, I'm absolutely certain you won't hesitate to ask, but ask away. Obviously the only thing I haven't shown you here is the mountain of invoices for the car that I've got, ranging from its body off, restoration of the chassis. That I've got all receipts that show that, and I've also got about 300 photographs on a USB stick that show the complete strip down of the car, raising the body off, taking the engine out, and I've got receipts that show that the chassis was completely sandblasted. Obviously all the repairs were made to it, which I don't think were terribly extensive. Just the usual sort of outrigger stuff. I've got photographs of it before and after, so you can see what the condition of the chassis was before it was repaired. You're clearly sort of looking at the stuff on Facebook. There's one going through being repaired at home at the moment with another member. His chassis is in a lot worse condition than this one was before the repair was started. So it really wasn't that bad. But yeah, it's all been epoxy resin painted, and underneath that was a guaranteed rust killer type sort of paint that was specially designed for this sort of restoration job. But yes, and receipts again for the engine rebuild at Andy's, and he, as you can see from Facebook, he's absolutely one of the top guys for that. So yes, there we are, Aaron. There she is. If you're still interested, you know, absolutely, by all means, whenever you like, I will make time for you whenever. And you know, if you do want to come over and see it, then we can go for a test drive, and you can really see what it's all about. And if you want a video of being inside the car driving it, I can sort of try and arrange some sort of mounting system, so I can, you know, do that for you as well. That's not a problem. But just let me know your thoughts on the video, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon.